very excited about this episode, joined by you, Modestes, to show off a few very good examples of modern websites, primarily SaaS websites, focused on the aesthetics and kind of this very modern, possibly very animated feel of like this typical good example of modern websites. You're going to walk us through some of that. We're going to talk about the importance of that compared to, or maybe in perspective to, also storytelling, like the general narrative, being able to convert certain users, because that's usually the whole purpose of it.
Pretty much.
Storytelling and all of that is very important, content in general, but visuals obviously play a part. And for some companies, more than others, visuals might be more important for a very modern SaaS solution.
Yes, it always depends on a given context. So it really depends, because visuals in general is just one tiny piece in a big web ecosystem, right?
Exactly.
So you have content, you have messaging, of course, SEO, obviously development. There are good practices and bad practices. You have also marketing landing pages, so that also maybe is a part of SEO. So it's just to say that visuals is not the most important necessarily thing, but it does play a rather important role.
Yes.
And especially if we consider how it plays out alongside the messaging and the content.
Yes.
So obviously, when we design websites, there's a good reason we start with content outline. So we need to know what kind of messaging we want, what kind of message we want the site visitors to provide with, right?
Yes. Exactly.
And then the visuals is just a good tool to reinforce that. Not to distract, but more so to kind of reinforce the message.
Exactly.
So you can use certain visual cues. Also, because it is one of the most important brand touch points, it's also a great place to kind of showcase your brand.
For sure. Definitely. So for certain websites, for certain companies, that sort of visual playfulness might be extremely important to communicate what they want to communicate and get people in. So there's a bunch of different ways. I think you outlined it pretty nicely in terms of visuals being a part of this huge pyramid of important things. So I know you just took your glass, but I know you prepared a bunch of links. As I said initially, you brought your computer, and
I have it in here.
we have a little walkthrough. You're going to take us through some of these websites. As I said, you prepared some very good examples, some very modern examples, also very probably known examples, and maybe some less known examples. And some of them do it very well all across the board in terms of storytelling, content, all of that. And then maybe some of them focus very heavily on the visuals, but maybe less so, maybe miss the mark a bit, according to us, you, personal opinions, on the narrative, on the other things you just mentioned.
Yes. Let's I guess let's dive in.
I think so. Let's dissect it, add a bit of commentary.
Yes, and just to the listeners, Frederick haven't seen not a single example, so he'll be providing his unfiltered thoughts.
For sure.
Yes,
I'm very excited.
So I think, again, I prepared a bunch of like SaaS examples. So the first one is a company called Listen. So they have a platform, AI first user research platform, and as you can see, they don't have anything flashy going on. It's pretty simple, pretty clean. But what I really like about it is the fact that instead of just popping a screenshot of their platform, they have this little animation kind of illustrating the value that you're getting out of this service. And I think that's very strong, gives you immediate understanding what kind of problems it's going to solve for you.
For sure.
And that's, I think, what I really like about it. So there's nothing flashy going on in here, just a clean design, very minimalistic,
Right.
nice visual hierarchy, and they do this classic bento tile feature breakdown in
Very
here.
beautiful.
But to me, the most important bit is this, because you're gonna land in here, and then the first thing you're gonna notice is this video.
That is very strong.
Just showing you how this platform works and what kind of problem it solves.
For sure. Like right off the bat, I don't know how many AI examples you have, but AI is one of those very competitive spaces where we're talking about future technologies, and one way that they try to stand out, obviously, on a landing page like this is visuals. Like if you see bad visuals on a futuristic, like where the whole vision is to move you into the future as a user,
Yes,
it's gonna fall apart. So stakes are high when it comes to visuals, and that's very clear here too.
yes. And actually, it's very interesting because in this example, they don't do this, crazy modern sci-fi type of feeling.
No.
At least visuals do not create that feeling.
Not at
It's
all.
very clean, minimalistic.
I get a very strong sense right off the bat because they used I don't know if it's because of the light colors, but also maybe the cases that you just brushed over before, where we have this big image video. I get a sense that this is very enterprise oriented. I don't know, but I get a feeling that this is very grown up. This is very professional stuff, and they know what they're doing.
I think they seem like a startup, but with a very nice VC backing.
Okay.
So, and this is a common theme because I think I have quite a few of startup with proper VC backing. So
that helps.
They can afford that.
They can afford that. Yeah. But that goes to show, like, the visuals plays a huge role, at least in my perception, that, okay, these guys, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just by visuals alone.
Yeah. Okay, this one, I think you're quite familiar with this example. It's, I don't know, I'm going to butcher the name. Fey.
Oh, yes.
Fey.
Is it financial platform or?
So it's, yes, it's investment platform. So I think in short, it's just, investment insights. And they do have, it is also AI driven platform.
Of course.
And again, they have this obviously cool, sleek animation in here. I think what I like about them is also, the way they highlight their key features in here. Especially like there are some very important features like personalized feed. So they essentially have some sort of LLM model generate you this daily feed just to get you up to speed with what happened yesterday,
right,
or during the night or whatever. So you can take action based on these.
Very cool. And the keyboard shortcuts, they made a big
they
deal.
make a big fuss out of it.
Yeah, visually, including the keyboard and everything, which is very important and a very nice storytelling too, like showing their feature in a different way than maybe we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is what I was looking for. You see this video. It's a bit far down, I have to say, but I think this is, again, where the key aspect of the product, at least for me. I've seen a lot of investment platforms, and it's just so much going on in there, and you gotta click around. But here they kind of they put everything together and kind of summarize it with some sort of LLM model. So I have another example. Is called the company name is Fincepa. It's also an investment platform. But the first thing when you land here is obviously this looks awesome and beautiful, right? And I haven't seen how they look outside of their website, brand wise, but it does look beautiful, and I think it kind of reinforces their brand. The only thing that, again, I'm gonna touch upon this, but I really hate this trend. And this is, I think this plopping a screenshot of your entire platform is most of the times is a bad thing to do, in my opinion, especially if it's a spaceship like that.
Right.
Because you kind of get overwhelmed. You don't get a good sense. Like, nothing here stands out.
Right.
Because there's so much of it.
Sure.
And I don't really know what they have. What is their main value proposition?
No, I get your point.
What is their...
No, I think I have a very strong opinion about it, to be honest, and I think it might go a bit against. Well, it's kind of two-sided, but plugging it in like that, as you said, I think I read somewhere, I heard somewhere that decreased conversion on certain sites. I can't remember where I found it. Again, one of those stats. I can't remember where I saw it, but this being bad practice, as you said, like it had a very bad effect on conversion because it was just too much. It was overwhelming.
I think it only works when maybe if you have a mobile app.
Right.
With a really easy to understand UI. It doesn't have to be mobile, as long as it's easy to consume, right?
Sure.
But if it illustrates the value you're going to get out of the product right away, no problem.
Sure.
But this is just, this is a bit much.
Okay. I think I might disagree here, but again, I don't know the company exactly. But if this tool was tailored toward very complex, multiple screen setup at home kind of thing, then this overwhelming factor would obviously be nice compared to, was it Faye you just showed before?
Yes.
Where that seems very simple, much more consumer centric in terms of me being able to use it. So I think my impression of this is not for everybody, even though their whole thing is all in one investment platform. I might be wrong. Whereas Faye seemed way more approachable for me as a user because of the way they kind of lead me through that visual journey.
Yeah.
Their narrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's pros and cons to both. For sure.
I think I agree. I mean, this is their main headline says that it's an all-in-one investment management tool or platform. So
that sounds impressive too.
Yeah, I've heard this story many times.
All in one. The all-in-one, yes.
Yeah, but it's a one way to present your product.
For sure. This looks cool.
Okay. A bit about 12 Labs. So this is again AI-driven video intelligence platform. So I think I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I guess they do some sort of video analysis. So they do some sort of video analysis and gives you insights on those. So you don't have to watch video material yourself and take notes. Right? So just, I guess they have an engine, some sort of AI engine that analyzes the video material that you upload.
Okay.
Wow.
World class. Yes.
Besides that, I think, they're very, what do you think about it?
I like it very much, but just the fact, this is not really fair for me to guess what they do based on you scrolling here, but obviously that seems like an issue from a narrative perspective that I'm not sure right off the bat what this is all about, even though I might not be the core audience. I feel like maybe if I read some of the copy, I would get a better understanding, but obviously visually, very impressive. I love how somehow they've created this. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but the way they handle these almost like shows the scanning, which is their main thing, it sounds like. Yeah. Scanning the video, but they're also presented it in a way that seems very them. Like they're kind of owning this presentation of, like, it really immerses me in a very cool way that I haven't seen on any other website.
I think this is like, if I had to choose between just having them uploading a screenshot of their platform, of their interface, I then I prefer this, because I can't imagine that it's what their product is easy to digest.
Possibly not.
we don't know. We're speculating. But I really appreciate this abstract way of showing what they do.
For sure.
Obviously, you need to do a bit of reading, right? Read the headlines first to actually have this aha moment.
Sure.
Well, once it clicks, it just gives me a nice feeling. They present it in a clever way.
Do they not show UI anywhere on the homepage?
They might do. Actually, I
Scroll a
haven't.
bit through it.
They do have these how it works diagrams.
Very technical, yes.
They do show very
wireframey,
stylized version of their UI.
Well, I kind of love that because, again, we don't know anything about it really or how well it performs. But for me, this clearly shows that, well, first of all, this is definitely not for me, but this is meant for a very specific core audience.
Yeah.
And they know exactly what they need to know. Like, UI doesn't matter.
No, UI doesn't, and UI won't even give you a full picture of what they do, right?
And the technology behind it.
Exactly. So
which is very special to them, I would assume, just based on this, which would, I imagine, be very exciting for me if I'm looking for this specific thing. But again, I also think that you won't necessarily find this unless you know it exists.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of those cases where...
So if you land up here, you already kind of know what this is.
Yeah.
You've heard about it, got it referred.
And then again, this is it's a very good point that you mentioned, because I think it's also very important to understand your customer journey, right? So
for sure.
How did they start, and how much they know when they land on your website?
Definitely very important.
All right, let's keep moving on then. Okay. Holly. You've seen this example.
I know this
because
one.
I've been raving about a little bit.
An everything app.
Yeah, so this is so Holly is some sort of all in one. It's kind of like a operating system for modern software or teams.
Okay.
So they have everything in one place. It's kind of a replacement of Linear, Jira, Slack, and Notion.
Jesus.
So it is a spaceship.
Well, that's very on point to have that laser beam then.
Yeah, and this is, again, this is a very beautiful way of showing the product, and it does seem kind of like over engineered.
This is very interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts on this in general. Yes, because it kind of goes a bit against what you just said.
It kind of goes a bit of what I just said, but the fact that it's, because again, to me, just screenshotting your UI and popping it in the hero is just a lazy thing to do, in my opinion.
Yes.
But again, here, I'm kind of contradicting myself, because in this case, it's definitely anything but lazy.
Okay.
I mean, they've did a lot of, I think there's a lot of resources that went into just building this hero. So it's just, it's a beautiful presentation in general, outside of this UI screenshot, right?
Yeah.
It does maybe distract you a bit from, like, it is very flashy.
For sure.
It's insanely flashy, and maybe it's difficult to grasp at this point what exactly it's doing. We kind of know by reading this.
Only by reading the copy here, right? I would know what it is, but by just looking at it, I would have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. But if you scroll a bit further, it's a bit more still traditional with the bentos, as you mentioned previously, highlighting a few features, showing some UI, but also a lot of effort went into animating these.
Each of the tile is insanely well crafted.
For sure.
And this is where I'm biased as hell, because I'm a designer, so I'm a sucker for beautiful visuals. But in this case, just maybe simplifying it a bit and maybe dedicating some of those resources towards mapping out what this product actually does would do better for them.
I don't think I disagree.
In
How
terms
much
of like,
copy does
just
they have on this page?
not a lot.
No.
Very lean in terms of the copy.
And that's generally, with my limited search engine optimization knowledge, not very good. And in such a competitive space, like they're trying to steal customers from some of the biggest companies in the world and not prioritizing being discoverable from content, I would assume would be not the greatest move in the world. But again, I don't know. It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Insane amount of resources went into this.
Fantastic, yeah. I mean, the level to details.
Sure. But this is one of those cases where I would say that
it's an overkill.
I would say you could spend your resources differently.
Yeah.
At least maybe get a higher return of investment on it. I don't know, but I would assume the audience for this would go crazy seeing this. Like the people they want to attract to this would be very fascinated and interested to sign up and try it. Because if you put this level of polish into your homepage, imagine the product.
Look at the pricing page, man.
Thing. No, that is insane. Like, no doubt about it. Beautiful craft.
Yeah.
But Jesus. Yes.
It's I think it's any designer's dream to be a part of a project like that. Yeah. But again, speaking of return on investment, bottom line in general, yeah, it might be a bit of an overkill visually because just knowing how much time it takes to craft stuff like that. Come on. I have more of these. So hold tight.
Nice.
All right. So same agency.
Same people who made the previous one.
Same people. So this is some sort software delivery platform.
Software, I don't even know what that means. Oh, sorry, continue. Please introduce me to this.
Yeah, so I think what they're streamline your CI/CD pipelines. So yeah,
I don't feel like I'm
I don't feel like I should I'm qualified enough to talk about what they do exactly. But it's obviously developer oriented platform
for sure.
For
very technical stuff.
Software delivery. So this is a link that they shared in their website. So this is how they envision it. Right? Look at this.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this, yes.
Obviously beautifully crafted hero. And again, this is just wow.
Yeah, you're just smiling. Scrolling through that.
And this animation, right? I like I was thinking today, like how much time they spend on this and how much it would cost to actually build something like that. Because I think, like, when you think about it, it's probably cheaper to build a landing page, a simple landing page for your SaaS solution, rather than craft something like this single animation.
Sure.
Like, and I would double it down. Like, I think it's like the price difference should be quite insane.
Right.
Because the amount of resources, like with today's technology, today's no-code tool, amount of resources and templates, just building something relatively decent,
aesthetically pleasing, very modern looking,
pleasing, okay-ish, and just publishing it is not that expensive anymore, right?
No, it's very
expensive. It's no longer a luxury, you know. So, but this this is luxury right here,
right?
I mean,
yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about any of this, to be honest with you.
Hold on. Now, look at what marketing did.
Okay, look at what marketing did. Right.
They actually broke it down in terms of what this platform do.
Oh, fantastic.
crazy, right?
Exactly what it needed.
I mean, they kind of butchered the visuals a little bit, I have to say.
Right. I think I have to be the you have the very product design, as you said, the mindset of being a very product designy type and loving the visuals, and then I can be the devil's advocate.
Be the devil's advocate.
Because this is, for me, this is so much better. I get a better grasp just from you scrolling through this. I already have a better idea of what it does.
Exactly.
And sure, the visuals is comparably nothing like what we just saw. No, we still have the looping animation at the top, but my God, nobody is gonna bat an eye like the people that are trying to get to sign up.
Yeah, it's
they're not gonna bat an eye. If they just saw that version you just walked me through, they're gonna love it regardless. Like that's gonna be great as well.
I think this is too much narrative driven in a way that is
I wouldn't even say it's narrative driven. I can't. We weren't in the room when they decided to make those animations.
Oh no,
but
unfortunately,
but I really have a hard time seeing how that fits into any of this, like what they're trying to say. Like that last animation that you have at the end, like Bento's great.
I think honestly, man, this could be easily fixed by just having a section, a bit of like inserting a section of this.
True.
Maybe just making it a bit leaner, because a link to the main feature page, but just these high level headlines gives me a really good picture of what this platform does, and it's shame that it's not in here anywhere.
Right.
So I think just having those that section and make it a bit leaner in terms of the amount of content there is.
Right.
I think that could potentially save this.
Sure. I mean, a hybrid of those two would be nice, because it's also a shame that we lose so many of the great visuals here.
Exactly. All that work. All right. Let's move on. Loop product returns management platform.
Mm-hmm.
This is for Shopify people.
Okay.
And this is quite simple, right? Nothing crazy in here. Nothing compared to what we just seen.
None.
In terms of the amount of polish or flashiness. But again, I just like this looping animation, because just by looking at it, again, gives me a good picture of what this platform does.
For sure.
And what kind of, why is it going to be useful for me, right?
For sure. It's very clear.
And then they provide this kind of sandbox
that's very
playground where you can kind of explore.
You get a feel for the user journey.
Feel for the user journey, right? And they kind of mapped it out. This is a classic way of doing it. But of course, the fact that it's interactive, it's just
it's very elevated.
Adds a touch. It's it's quite elevated compared. Of course, below we have so they do have more products, or maybe it's just different type of product areas. I don't know how you would call it.
I think you're right. Yeah,
it's mapped as a bento tiles in here.
Yeah,
I don't have very strong feelings about it, because this is quite standard.
Yes,
looking for flashiness.
Sure.
I think for distractions.
Yes, the story. I think this is the like a good balance right in between the whole narrative, understanding the product, also hopefully get some people through Google to visit our website organically. Like I think this is a nice mix of that.
It's a healthy balance, and look how much content they have. They have so many different pages.
That's amazing.
So they're and that's what's impressive to me, when companies are able to pull that off.
Yeah,
like a nice SEO, like a nice sitemap structure.
Yeah,
right. Just enough context to understand what the product does, and the content leads the way here.
For sure.
Right, and the visuals are just here, kind of to reinforce it.
For sure.
So I like that. That's
Same. I mean, this is pretty quote unquote standard in terms of layout and general experience. Like, there's nothing crazy here, which I like, which I think is a good way to go when you make something like this. But the amount of detail they put into the individual tiles, heroes, and interactions, I think is maybe not as flashy as the previous two examples, but still at a level where they separate themselves from, I'm sure, a lot of other similar companies in that category.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me. Again, going
Yeah.
back to the whole, if you put the effort into this, the same amount of effort you put into this, I would expect that to be in the software too, in terms of quality.
Yeah.
That's usually how I look at it.
It's interesting, like, because again, aesthetics and visuals and the amount of visual polish in the website, I think it's a really nice way, as you said, to make yourself stand out from your competitors. So I think it's all about knowing where's that threshold. How high is that threshold in terms of, so how good your competitors are with their websites, in terms of the visual appeal.
Sure, good.
And so just going slightly above is usually what is probably the best thing to do in terms of return on investment.
I'd say so. Like, if you can just push the boundaries a little bit while it still helps you communicate what the product does, as it does very nicely in the hero section, I think that's worth your time.
Yes. Well, I think I have a few more. These are well, great in labs. I think the last three examples are just they're all startups.
Okay.
So important thing to highlight that they have a strong VC
backing.
Yeah, so they're very, very well funded. And again, I think this shows, right? And I think that's the strategy.
There is a strategy now, I'm sure,
to stand out, to just be good enough to stand out.
Yes.
Visually. And again, what I like about this example is that they kind of minimize the UI, and then I think this is an AI agent, so it's fairly easy to, I guess, present that.
For sure.
But just shows...
it's a little demo, right? Like, right off the bat.
It's kind of interactive demo, right?
Right off the bat. This is what the product is.
Nope. So it gives you a great understanding what it does.
For sure.
How it helps you without you even having to scroll. And it does it in a really nice, engaging way.
I love that. And I think there's definitely something to learn in general, because this is also the call to action is request a demo, which is when you're building enterprise toolings or just general products that needs a lot of manual onboarding. I think you recreating certain aspects of your product and presenting that as an interactive demo, like we've seen many times now, I think it's not a cheat code, but it's definitely a way to kind of bypass that whole, oh, I have to book a demo, oh, I'm not really sure, and oh, there's also these 3 other ones I want to talk to, or I can sign up myself over here. I think that kind of gives you an edge in terms of not losing certain users.
Yes, exactly.
It's very cool.
Exactly. Yeah, because booking a demo without really knowing what the product does,
I mean,
I know that a lot of people, it really depends on the space, and a lot of people don't mind that because it's part of it's widely accepted practice.
Exactly.
But personally, there's nothing that I hate more, because I feel like it's a waste. It might end up as a waste of time.
Yes, for sure. But it's also just a commitment. Like, now we have a meeting. Now I have to talk to somebody. I'm not interested in that. No, but very few people is interested in that. But yes, in some industries, it's obviously widely accepted, as you say.
Yeah.
But still, even though it is, giving you that user experience right off the bat is insanely cool.
And what I like about them, again, Gradient Labs, is that instead of just leaning into this futuristic vibe, they're trying to stick to their brand.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it, but I think that's the first serif font I've seen in all your examples.
Yeah.
But yes, it's nice.
There might be more. Let's see.
Oh, but this looks very vastly different than the other ones.
Yeah, they do have this kind of very fun way of presenting themselves.
Yes, way more playful.
Very playful and kind of. Yeah.
Is this one of the good examples in your mind, or one of the maybe less good ones, or from a narrative perspective?
Yeah, honestly, from it's very difficult for me to judge,
For sure.
just because I haven't actually read any copy.
No.
And I think it's pretty okay, because at least they have a video in here. I don't know, what's your opinion in general in terms of videos in the hero?
I do have a preference to interactive demos. There is, especially when you're browsing and you're not really fully committed to anything yet.
Yeah.
Looking for that next product. I think interactivity is more interesting, giving me the options. But obviously, a video is classic. It works. Obviously.
It works.
I remember a time where everybody needed that illustrated video of their services on their homepage. You know, getting some sort of illustrators to make like a 2-minute how-to video. This is us.
Yeah.
And now it's all the rage. But they also worked very well. They converted extremely well.
Heading to fiverr.com.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I do prefer interactivity, especially in the SaaS space.
Yeah, I think it's for me, like, I'm so unfamiliar with this AI agent deal, so it's difficult for me to judge, because I'm not very into this niche in general.
No.
But they do come across as well, the website it seems very well crafted.
Very nice.
There's a nice content structure, and there's a nice level of interactivity in here.
Yes. Breath of fresh air when it comes to that AI.
And again, this is again, it's very difficult for that. Like, there's nothing. It's not very tangible, because it's kind of like a very abstract tech.
Sure.
It usually works in the background. It's automation. It's related to automation. So it's I think they're, again, like, doing a good job of showing how this works.
Yeah, diagrams and such.
Yeah, with the diagrams. Obviously, would have been cooler if there's some sort of level of interactivity or animations, maybe potentially turning this into animation. But just this does the job, in my opinion.
For sure, it does.
Really, it's difficult again for me to judge, because
yes, we don't know enough about it.
I don't know enough about it, but
visually it comes across very, very put together and very opinionated too, because they dare to look a bit different, which is very nice.
Yeah, so I'm sure that in terms of standing out, they're doing pretty well.
They're doing nicely.
Could imagine. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of SaaS examples.
What is this?
This is the last one. I don't even know if it's worth talking about, because there's nothing.
This is very run of the mill.
Yeah.
This is very unexciting to me.
No, yeah.
Especially in the SaaS space. I mean, it's very clear and to the point, which I appreciate. Like, very easy to digest, very simple sections.
But is it? Well, again, it's for very technical users.
For sure. Assuming
developer-oriented product. So
exactly. Assuming I know all of this stuff, but just looking at it, I would get a good idea of what this does.
I do have a video in here.
I have a little YouTube video. Appreciate that too in general.
Yeah. So in general,
yes.
let's. Are you comfortable doing a little summary in terms of the things that you liked seeing, like the trends, the visual trends that you like, what approaches you like, what approaches you hate?
well,
how to strike a good balance.
Yes. I think from the examples you've shown me now, I think there's clear, and if we're staying on the topic of aesthetics like form and function compared to all the other things that's very important for your website to work the way you want it to work, which I assume is make you more money. And that might be from selling licenses or getting more users, just creating brand awareness that leads to something. Stuff that I don't like, it's hard to say, but you had some good examples where I think resources could be spent differently. And I think you touched on it initially too, starting with narrative, starting with the story, understanding where your customers are coming from.
Yeah.
Do they know you? Do they know this space? If this is like an industry or a place where we don't have a lot of knowledge or the users needs to be educated, I think some of them did a very good job in like kind of holding your hand. The other ones where it's a dev tool that we all know that we need this in our workflow, we're just doing it a bit better than everybody else kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay with just showing bento grids and features because you're comparing features at this point.
Yeah.
And when you're in that comparing feature space, visuals for me, and I think a tendency in the SaaS space is visuals would then push me over the edge and say, okay, quality.
Yeah.
But if it's in this evergreen space where, no, evergreen is not the right word to use. When it's in this space where AI agents, for example,
Yeah.
I think there is definitely a need to be more copy driven, narrative driven, and more demo driven potentially too, getting that interactivity.
Yeah.
I think in general, I always recommend showing off the UI, and if that is just a dumb screenshot, I think that's in some cases okay, but I do also know that it can have a very bad effect if it's not done correctly. So you really have to know your audience in that case.
Yeah.
In most cases, I think spending that extra resources in demoing something that might not be accessible or hidden behind request a demo, I think that is where you can find some value.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
like
get
mapping out an automation workflow, right?
Sure.
If we were to talk about AI agents, right?
For sure.
That would just you can't even like in their case you can't even just show their product because
no,
it's not really tangible, you know. So you kind of it's very important how like so-called how it works section becomes very important.
I think so, yeah.
And just having maybe some sort of layer of interactivity in there.
I think that's nice.
Just for the sake of delight, because obviously you can just smack static image and write a bit of copy under each step, and that would be good enough. But again, if you were to compare free products that does same-ish thing,
yeah,
then it becomes really important
for sure.
The visuals, because we sort of associate the level of polish with the attention to detail and the quality, right?
For sure. I think that's in a saturated market, the visuals, the attractiveness of the thing you show, shows who you are as a team and the people building it. So I think that's important. I would focus on that. But I think more so than just delight, which is important, I think it also just gives me confidence before trying your product. If I can demo it, if I can see a video of it, if I can see some sort of realness from it, like right off the bat, that gives me some confidence in that this product is relevant for me to try.
Yeah. I also think that it's like, especially for products that does all in one place, I think it's very, very important, the content structure and just breaking each area down. Like the Holly, no, it wasn't Holly example. It was the harness example, right? The pixel points vision, and then their actual marketing website. I think, like, again, speaking about the content, obviously this is not the most, speaking as a designer, not the most visually appealing way to present their product, but just structuring it in feature areas, and then having this classic approach: feature area, a headline, a few bullet lists that summarizes what it does. It's just, you'll never go wrong with that type of approach.
Honestly, no.
And then if you're able to sprinkle some nice visuals on top of it, just to tie it
all together.
together.
I think that's the way to go. I think 9 out of 10 times that will perform better in terms of whatever your objective is with the website.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I think this paints a good picture. There's some very nice examples you had here, showing different sides of approaching aesthetics and visuals compared to narrative and storytelling and marketing, search engine optimization, all of these things. That's very important for a modern websites that want to convert. Yeah. I think it's a very interesting topic in general, obviously because of all the resources that goes into making this decision. Let's go all in on something.
Yeah.
Visuals, for example, animations.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very interesting discussion to always have, but first really considering the space you're in.
Yeah.
Industry you're in.
And also, like, you had a very great point in terms of operational aspect. And you need to know, you need to understand how the website is going to be maintained, right?
Right.
How often you'll have to do paid socials, how often you'll be publishing blog posts, how often you'll be updating the website content, and who is going to be updating the content. So I think, again, sometimes you just don't have the luxury of doing what they did it here, because I don't imagine that they update the content on this website very often.
No,
let's be honest,
I
right?
don't think so.
And they don't have to. Probably the nature of the business doesn't require you pushing out blog posts in here or updating content too much, or we don't know. I'm obviously assuming here, but yeah, I think it's a very important aspect to consider.
Exactly. You just have to figure that out internally.
Because if you build something beautiful, but like, if it's beautiful for the first 2 months only, and then all that beauty is broken by the people that are maintaining it, because maybe they need to add new sections, right? Maybe they need a section in between, and now everything kind of falls apart because it happens. Things like that happen. So it's just also understanding how modular the website is going to be, and the more modularity there is, the leaner you should be in terms of the visual aspect, I'd say.
I agree. I think the making something extremely visual heavy is a decision, and you need to be extremely mindful of that decision because it comes with pros and cons.
Yeah, if it took you 100 hours just to execute on that animation, and now somebody from up there is asking you to make changes,
right?
I mean, this is just, it's not sustainable, right?
No.
So you need to also adapt.
You figure all of that out initially.
Yeah,
it's that preliminary round of where do we want to be in 5 years? What's the purpose of this website? Based on that, you make the decision on, is visuals important? Is it less important? Is content more important?
Yeah.
Do we need to educate people?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
Because it's not something you just do. It takes time, and usually external people too, because you don't have that in-house.
No.
Unless you are a SaaS huge organization like Intercom, for example, changes their website every month.
Yeah. GitHub, Linear,
all of those,
all the big ones.
All of those.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Very fun.
Sick. It was a fun episode. Yeah. It was pretty interesting going through all the examples. I don't think that we've ever done an episode like that.
Well, that's how we release these episodes, we'll see. Yeah. But yes. That's very fun, man.
Yeah.
Sick.
Wow.
All right, that was a nice trip around the internet Modestus gave us in the episode. The beautiful side of the internet, actually, because we had a very strong focus on some of the more interesting aspects of websites in our general space, in the SaaS space, but also a bit outside our normal circle. We had a good discussion about that. It's a very strong topic in general to talk about, I believe so, because of all the stuff happening in the AI space, tools, web making tools becoming increasingly more accessible, like no-code tools. So the bar to something amazing keeps moving downwards. So mediocrity is way more attainable, or at least what was previously sought at or looked at as being very impressive becomes less and less so, at least in our little bubble. So I think that's very interesting when we then think about taste as being this differentiator in a very crowded space when it comes to making websites. So talking about form and function and where to put all your, like where to put your eggs, in what basket to put them in when you have a certain amount of resources, or if you want to stand out, is just more difficult. And I think the examples Modesta showed was very cool and shine a good light on that. And also it's worth mentioning that this was a very visual format this time in the podcast episode. So if you were just listening on let's say Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, I would definitely recommend you to open up YouTube or watch it through the Spotify player, because we are showing a lot of cool visuals that we spoke about during the episode. So that will definitely give you a bit more context than just listening to us critique it. Also, the critiquing part based on a lot of assumptions, because we weren't in the big boardrooms when these websites were made, and I think we stressed that point. But I do think it's nice to mention once again that we're just viewing it from the outside, and there are a lot of good decision that goes into making a website the way it is, anything really, and it can sometimes seem a bit naive or biased to just sit here in this studio and then critique something that we essentially know nothing about in terms of the decision that was made. But very fun exercise nonetheless. Jump on Spotify, YouTube to see the beautiful websites, as I mentioned, and let us know if this format was interesting, if it made sense, and follow us on Spotify, if wherever you listen to podcasts, to hear more from us. We have a lot planned coming out on Focus State, on the Focus State platform, so stay tuned for that, and thank you very much.